Welcome to this explainer. You know, if you've ever looked at folks who've built serious long-term wealth and thought, man, they must have some genius-level IQ, or they definitely inherited a fortune, or maybe they just have some secret strategy the rest of us don't know about, well, I've got some great news for you. Most wealthy people didn't get there by being smarter than you. Today, we're going to completely dismantle that myth and look at the actual blueprint for building wealth.
Okay, let's dive right into this. The truth about building wealth? It's incredibly, almost disappointingly, boring. Like this quote hits the nail on the head. They don't have some secret investment strategy, and they're not some genius with numbers. They just do 6 things differently that seem almost too simple to matter. It's not about timing the market perfectly or cracking some secret algorithm. It really just comes down to executing incredibly consistent, fundamentally sound habits.
So here's our visual roadmap for today. We're going to break down these 6 habits: auditing your daily spending, navigating debt, anchors versus levers, building a cash buffer, the compounding snowball effect, shielding your growth from taxes, and finally, defining your real wealth. Let's hit step 1.
All right, step 1, auditing your daily spending. We like to call this curing the financial X-ray.
Look, you simply cannot manage what you don't measure, right? Without an audit, it's literally like driving down the highway with a totally foggy windshield. Sure, you might be moving forward, but you have absolutely no idea where you're actually headed. The fix here is super straightforward. Step 1, write down every single expense. And I mean every single one. Because research shows the average person underestimates their monthly spending by a massive 20 to 25%. That gap? That's exactly where your wealth is leaking out. So step 2 and 3 are about finding that gap and uncovering those hidden daily leaks. You know, those forgotten subscriptions or the small daily purchases you barely remember making. Finding these isn't a punishment. It's actually your first major victory.
And this brilliantly illustrates what to do next. Once you've tracked everything, every single dollar you spend needs to fall into one of these 3 simple buckets. The fundamentals, these are your non-negotiables like rent, groceries, basic bills. Then you've got fun, which covers those guilt-free pleasures that make life, well, actually enjoyable today. And finally, future. This is the money dedicated to savings and investments. Basically, you're paying the future you.
Moving on to habit 2, debt anchors and levers. Basically, realizing that not all debt is equal.
Imagine pouring your hard-earned money into savings while you're still carrying high-interest debt. It's kind of like running a beautiful warm bath at the end of a long day, but you completely forgot to put the plug in. It all just drains right out. You really have to understand the difference between an anchor and a lever. Anchor debt, like high-interest credit cards or personal loans over 8%, that just drags you down. Lever debt, on the other hand, is low-cost leverage. Think of a 4% mortgage that actually frees up your capital to invest in things that might earn double that amount. See, wealthy people don't avoid all debt. They just rigorously eliminate the anchor debt before they even think about taking investing seriously.
To make this super actionable, here is your exact priority checklist. Priority level 1 is securing an initial 1-month cash buffer. Get that safety net first. Then, priority 2, aggressively attack and clear out all that anchor debt over 8%. Now, only after those anchors are completely gone do you move to priority 3, which is building a full 3 to 6 month buffer. And finally, priority 4 is long-term savings, redirecting every single penny of that extra cash flow directly into wealth building.
Which brings us to habit 3, building your cash buffer, or as we call it, installing your financial spare tire.
Here's the thing, when the stock market drops 30%, average investors completely panic and lock in huge losses. The wealthy, they do absolutely nothing. Why? Because they have a spare tire of cash that prevents them from having to sell off investments when life goes sideways. Now, according to Bankrate, 59% of people in the US couldn't cover an unexpected $1,000 expense. I'm sharing this not to freak you out, but to normalize where you might be right now. It's incredibly common. But man, it highlights exactly why prioritizing that cash spare tire is so wildly urgent. Without a spare, a minor inconvenience instantly becomes a major crisis.
So to get you out of that 59%, let's look at a really simple, actionable timeline. In month 1, your only job is to focus entirely on saving just 1 month of basic living expenses. That's it. Then, in months 2 and 3, set up automated payments to aggressively attack any of that debt over 8%. Once you clear that hurdle, month 4 and beyond is all about securing that full 3 to 6 month cash buffer. If you break it down into these milestones, it becomes completely achievable, right?
All right, habit 4, the compounding snowball effect. This is all about getting rich slow on purpose.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that the real skill of investing is actually just setting up this checklist and then leaving it completely alone.
Think of compounding like pushing a snowball down a huge hill. At first, you're doing all the heavy pushing, but eventually it picks up its own snow and just grows exponentially. Take Warren Buffett, probably the greatest investor alive. He started at 11 years old, but roughly 97% of his massive net worth was built after his 65th birthday. Why? He just let the snowball roll. Meanwhile, research shows average investors actually underperform the market by 3 to 4% a year, simply because they tinker. They react to the news, they panic, they buy high and sell low. Don't do that. Set up a monthly automated transfer into low-cost index funds, treat it like a non-negotiable bill, and just do not touch it.
Next up is Habit 5, shielding growth from taxes, knowing the rules of the board game.
Think of the tax code kind of like the rulebook for a super complex board game. Most people just follow the basic rules, but the wealthy, they read the entire rulebook and find all the bonus squares. Look at this. According to a ProPublica analysis of IRS data, some of the richest Americans pay an effective tax rate of around 3 to 8%, while your average middle-class worker is paying closer to 25%. Now, we're just neutrally observing this data to point out a crucial fact. This isn't about breaking the law at all. It's simply about legally structuring and protecting your money using the exact tools the government intentionally provides.
So for a beginner in the US, finding those bonus squares means using tax-advantaged accounts. Let's say your employer offers a 401k match. That is literally free money. It's 100% return on your investment before the stock market even opens for the day. And tools like a US Roth IRA, they allow your investments to grow completely tax-free. Getting the right accounts in place from the very start is exactly how you shield your hard-earned compounding growth.
Finally, Habit 6, defining your real wealth. It's time to look in the money mirror.
We've talked a lot about mechanics, but now we really need to talk emotions. Because honestly, the saddest trap in personal finance is earning millions of dollars and still feeling completely broke. This happens because of something called the hedonic treadmill. Harvard Business Review data shows that people consistently believe they need 2 to 3 times their current income to be happy. But when they get there, the goalpost just moves. If you don't define your personal goals, if you don't decide right now that money is for freedom or security or having time with your loved ones, rather than just buying the newest iPhone to fill a void, you are never going to feel like you have enough.
So let's turn all of this theory into your first 30 days action plan. Step 1. Dedicate just 1 single hour this week to audit and categorize your past spending into those 3 buckets we talked about. Step 2. Write down every single debt and its interest rate so you can spot those anchors. And step 3, go to your banking app right now today and automate your very first contribution toward your 1-month cash buffer. I want to leave you with this final, genuinely vital question. What do you actually want your money to give you? Seriously, think about it. Not what looks impressive on social media, not what signals success to your neighbors, but what do you truly want? Figure out that answer and let it drive every single financial decision you make from this day forward. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time as we keep breaking down the blueprints to a better life.